falls from height killed 31 workers in Great Britain in 2025 to 2026, which was around a quarter of all worker deaths.
That is a really shocking figure, isn't it, Richard?
It is, Romy. So today we're going to be talking about working at height, okay? And that's because this is Let's Talk Premises, and my name is Richard.
And my name's Romy.
And every 2 weeks, what we try and do is we look at school estate news and what it actually means in practice. So, Romy, let's start with a really obvious question. Okay, so I suppose one of them would be, what are people actually meant to do before they start working at height?
Yes. Do they need to fill in a whole new risk assessment every time?
And the answer is no, they don't. Okay, so what the law says is that you don't need to do a fresh form for every job, of course. But what it does say is that the work needs to be properly planned, supervised when needed, of course, done by someone who knows what they're doing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't have to start from scratch every time, do you?
No. And so if it's a job that's been done before, in the same place with the same equipment, the existing assessment probably already covers it. You just have to double check, but you still therefore have to look at the exact job in front of you.
You do, because using a ladder inside a hall just isn't going to be the same as, let's say, using a ladder to go up onto a roof.
Exactly. Really good. That's a good comparison because actually the HSE are really clear about roof work and things like that. Like, a job can still be high risk, even if it's like taking 30 seconds or a minute or something like that.
Yeah. Like quick doesn't automatically mean safe, does it?
No, that's it. So like it might be really quick, but it still needs the right person, needs the right equipment and a safe way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're not filling in a form every time, what should you be doing?
So you stop for a moment, okay?
Yeah.
You think about and check the job. Has this already been done today? Done before, in the risk assessment effectively. Is the right person doing it? Like, have they got the right equipment? Is there anything today that might be different, like the weather or change to access or something like that? And if something goes wrong, what's the plan?
That does make more sense, doesn't it? The assessment is already there, but you still look about what you're about to do that day.
Exactly. And if the job hasn't been covered before or something has changed, you stop. Okay. It needs looking at properly before anyone goes up.
And what about this once a year, risk assessment review? Do people just basically go over and check it and just read it again and just check that it's all relevant?
Yeah, it's what a lot of schools or trusts do, like a once a year risk assessment, and you get you have to prove that you have to prove that you've read it again, should I say?
Yeah.
But actually, there's no like general law like saying it has to be like reviewed or read once a year. Okay, it's about having a regular review date that is sensible, but it could be that you have to do it a couple of times a year, for example, because it might be no longer relevant because something important has changed in the middle of the year. So therefore, then you've done it twice that year. It's that kind of thing.
So the date just isn't the main thing here, is it?
No, it's whether the assessment still matches the job, the work. Yeah.
And obviously that will still need writing down in the.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you're an employer, you've got, I think it's like 5 or more people, the important findings have to be recorded, but there isn't one particular form that they have to use each time.
Yeah, it needs to be useful, but we're not just doing paperwork here just for the sake of it, are we?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah.
So what would you expect to see in a school or a trust then?
Yeah, so the assessment would be something simple that tells people what they can do, what they can't do. Like
okay, so for example, who can just go onto a roof and who can't?
Yeah, that's literally that. An assessment will say something like who can go up, how they get there, what equipment they then have to use, whether the roof could be fragile, maybe in a couple of places or something. What weather stops the work, and what to do in an emergency, clearly. Things like that.
But what we don't want is just a huge folder that no one's ever going to open or reference, do we?
No. It basically helps someone make a decision. Okay, so when a small job appears out of nowhere, they need to know whether it's already covered or if they need to stop, tell someone and sort of redo it. That kind of thing.
But I can imagine that for some, for example, a site manager or, a contractor, stopping can feel like you're being a bit difficult, can't it?
Yeah, but I suppose especially if the job looks really quick, but actually leaving it alone and reporting it is just exactly the right thing to do. It's just what it is. It's just
Yeah,
what you have to do.
definitely. So this week, Richard, I see we are giving people something practical as well, aren't we?
We are, Romy. So there'll be a downloadable work at height risk assessment template with this week's news article. So if you follow my newsletter on LinkedIn, there'll be a link to a risk assessment template there. We'll put it in the description or comments depending on where you're watching this. It's a starting point, guys. So it's, you know, it will need adapting potentially to your site and, you know, your work and controls and things like that.
Yeah, and can we just ask if we have found this episode useful, just give the video a quick like, and that will really help us to see which premises topics are worth covering next.
That's it. And I'd also say, just sort of off the top of my head here, like it might be
Yeah.
worth like picking I don't know, like one ordinary unplanned job, you know, and asking whoever looks after your site, like if this came up tomorrow, would everyone know what to do? Something like that.
Yeah. So if people can just take one thing away from this podcast, this episode, what would you hope that would be, Richard?
Look, just it's not about, you know, another form every time. It's just about having a system that controls the work every time. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We'll end it there. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will
Thank
see you
you.
next time.
See you later.